Hi everybody, Lori here from Unique in the Creek. I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial on how I did Trish DiStefano's petal using our board. Now yesterday I used burlap, and it was a 10-inch roll of, or 10-yard roll, but 12 inches wide. So I cut my petals 10 by 12. So they were not quite a square. This is what it looks like this is all I have of the yellow, but this is what it looks like in the green. So it's flimsy, but it's pretty durable. It's a color fast burlap from Craft Outlet. Anyways, I cut my piece at 10 inches. Okay, so I cut pretty much the whole roll. Then I flipped it over and put it in a diamond shape so it's curled up. And once you put it in the diamond shape, you're just going to put your, now if you're doing it 10 by 10 with deco mesh, you can put, or poly burlap, you can put your corners corner to corner perfectly, and you should have a perfect triangle. But because mine is 10 by 12, it's not going to line up perfectly, so I just put it over the bottom corner just a little bit. Okay, and then now what you're going to do is you're going to pinch down this folded side. Okay, now you're going to have some corners, so make sure your petals, the pleats are nice. Okay, and you're going to have these corners. The corners are just going to be folded right underneath the petal, and then you're going to zip tie it. Now you can use, I have 3-inch zip ties and 6-inch zip ties with me, but you can use whatever you have on hand, 6-inch pipe cleaners, whatever. You're just going to put a zip tie close to the bottom here. Okay, so about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. All right, and then you're going to take your board. Now for the board, I filled up all the holes except for the 4 middle ones. 4 middle ones I used for the burlap and or for the brown center. Now the rest of these boards, there's 16 holes going around. Because it's burlap, I did 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then I skipped this one, and then 1, 2, 3, and then I skipped, only because the burlap is so thick that it was just going to be a waste of burlap if I did every single hole. So I decided to do a clump of 3 and skip 1, clump of 3 and skip 1. Now if you're doing deco mesh, you're going to want to do all the holes, okay? And same with your poly burlap. But because this is so dense, the actual burlap, I didn't have to do every hole, okay? Now I did do the petals exactly the same as I'm going to show you right now. So every hole is done the same except for the green leaves. The green leaves are done the normal sunflower way if you want to add, and you would do the green leaves on these outer holes, putting your zip tie through this hole, putting your piece of green in the middle here, and then going over top of the edge, okay? But for right now, so these 4 holes, and you can write on your board and circle it to remind you that these 4 holes are going to be brown. So I always start with the hole closest to the center, and I can feel my zip tie head facing up towards the ceiling. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, so we want the petals facing out this way. So what I'm going to do is take my zip tie, and I'm just going to fold it back. So I have my thumb and scissored between my 4 fingers. I'm just going to thread it between that zip tie here. Okay. And then once it's threaded through, I'm going to go down through the corresponding hole. Zip it. Once it hits the board, then pull it and pull tight so it pops in the hole, and you're tightening it as you're pulling. And then you're going to tighten this one. Now I should have probably used 6-inch on these because the burlap is just so thick. But there's one, and I'll do one more. So again, I don't have much of this left, but I'm going to cut 10 inches. Okay, and the curled part, because I don't want the curl facing outwards, that it's going to be floppy. So if I do it while the curl is going downwards, it'll sit downwards on the frame. Again, if you're doing it with mesh and you have 10 by 10, just match the corners. But I have an odd, I could have made them 12 by 12, but then the petals would be really, really floppy. And I didn't want them too floppy because they would be really large petals. Oh, that's not very good petal. So you just want to scrunch it up to make sure the pleats. Now, burlap isn't the easiest to work with. So if you guys are using the poly burlap or deco mesh, you'll find it much easier than this. I'm going to try it with some poly burlap a little bit later. Okay, so you're just going to put that and get your board and put your petal is going to go to the next here. So you're going to put it closest to the center. Your zip tie head, I could feel that it's facing upwards. You're going to thread your end through the back of the petal, through the zip tie there, and come back down. And this petal is kind of wonky because it's the end of the roll, so it's all twisted, but I just wanted to do a quick video so you guys could see what I was doing. So once it hits the board, you push it in the hole, tighten that one, and snip off the tail. Okay, now once you put all the brown in, the brown is going to be really full and it's going to cover the zip ties, so you don't need to worry about that. So you're going to continue with these 8 and then do these 8 and then do these 16, just like I did with these petals, and you will have a beautiful sunflower. And then when you're done, you're going to flip it over and you're going to cut off the tail so you have a nice neat back. Okay, so that's it for that sunflower. Now I'm going to do it with a poly burlap later because the burlap was kind of hard to work with, but that's what I had on hand and I wanted to make one for myself, so that's what I did. Okay, if you have any problems, just contact us. You know where to reach us. Thanks, guys.